There's a lot of misinformation out there about karma and the law of attraction. Many sources are going to tell you that these two laws are essentially the same, but they're not. So in this video, I'm going to clear up all of those misunderstandings that are out there about karma and the law of attraction. I'm going to show you how these two laws actually interact in your life. Stay tuned. Hi there, I'm Lisa Ingalls-Witter, and welcome to my channel where I help spiritual seekers just like you to get simple answers to deep spiritual questions. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I put out new videos every week. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the difference between the law of attraction and the law of karma. There is a ton of information out there about the two, and I've seen a lot of misinformation, a lot of sources that say that the law of attraction and that the law of karma are essentially the same thing, and they're not. So we want to clear that up because it's not true. The biggest problem that I see with what most sources are teaching with the law of attraction is that they don't teach the law of attraction within the context of karma. So that really needs to be the starting point of our conversation. So let's dive into this conversation by talking a bit about the law of karma first. Now, the law of karma says that for every action, there is a consequence, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. And that consequence may have a direct effect or an indirect effect in your life. And that effect may happen immediately, might happen right now, instantaneously, instant karma, or it might happen at some time into the future, whether that's a few days, a few months, a few years, many years, or even lifetimes. So to fully understand karma, we need to also understand this idea of reincarnation, that we've inhabited many lifetimes, that we are not just this body, that we are a consciousness within this body, that this body might die, but our consciousness doesn't die, and it inhabits new bodies over lifetimes. And over the course of those lifetimes, we actually make choices. Of course we make choices. We have to make choices. We have to take action. And those actions, those choices have led to actions that have created what we would call karmic traces. Karmic traces show up as inherent tendencies in this lifetime. They're also referred to in yoga as samskaras. And these are the inherent tendencies that dictate our actions. They're like unconscious habits that seem to run on their own. Now, we also have something that we bring with us from past lifetimes, which are karmic seeds. And karmic seeds come from our past actions, and they're simply latent karma. They're karma whose consequences have not yet been manifested in our life. They haven't ripened because they haven't had the correct conditions in order to manifest. Now, the law of karma allows us to understand the misfortune and the suffering in our own lives and in the lives of others in a context that spans across or ripples across time and space. And this understanding frees us from the clutches of the idea that all of our problems are solely the result of our relationship with our primary caregivers, with our mother, with our father, or our siblings, or whoever it was that was present in our, in our formative years. And, the idea that healing those wounds can help us move forward in our lives. And we can sort of prove this by thinking about how many people do the work, go to therapy for years and years, work with coaches, do retreats and seminars, and they make progress. Absolutely. There's progress that's made, and problems may even become more manageable and not as intense. However, they still have these traces. They still experience those subtle triggers to those wounds. And it's because if we're looking at things in the context of karma, it's not our parents that are the problem. It's not our, being bullied by our brother or our sister or whatever it is. In the context of karma, your birth family and their karma and their karmic tendencies simply provide the right conditions for your unique karma and karmic traces to flourish, to manifest in this lifetime. And the purpose of your karma is to help you find your way back to the one divine love intelligence that lives in you, through you, and as you. Now, in Eastern tradition, it's believed that after many, many lifetimes of living on and going through this wheel of karma, we feel the urge to live a more conscious life and to awaken to the truth of who we are and to liberate ourselves from suffering. And I call that the path of the karmic warrior, because it's the point at which we realize that our karma isn't our destiny, that it's by clearing our karma that we can create a new future. We can think of karma by using this analogy of debt, and you may have heard of this analogy before because it's actually a really good one. We accrue karmic debt over many, many lifetimes, and the teachings of Buddhism and yoga actually give us precise methods and practices that will help us to pay back our karmic debt. If we've accumulated a lot of karmic debt, we may only be able to pay back a certain amount of that debt in one lifetime, and then we'll have this opportunity to continue to pay back that debt over future lifetimes. So now that we have this basic understanding of the law of karma, we can look at the law of attraction and see how it fits in to the law of karma, because I do see a lot of stuff out there that claims that the two laws are actually the same, and they're not the same. The popular notion of the law of attraction is that your thoughts create your reality, and that the vibration of those thoughts, whether they're positive or negative, are going to attract to you experiences of similar vibrations into your life. Now, the interesting thing is that 100 years ago, Paramahansa Yogananda came to the United States, and he kept company with many of the New Thought luminaries, people like Ernest Holmes and Joel Goldsmith, and these modern day mystics appropriated many of the ideas of yoga philosophy and then founded the New Age movement. In fact, you can see traces of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and Ralph Waldo Emerson's writings. Yogananda spoke of the law of attraction, but he didn't speak about it in the New Age context that most of us are familiar with today. And what I want to do now is read you an excerpt from the book called The Essence of Self-Realization. And in this book, there's a chapter on karma where he describes what karma is, but more importantly, he describes this interaction between the law of karma and the law of attraction, yet he doesn't, in this excerpt, he doesn't specifically say law of attraction, but you're going to recognize it as I read this. So here we go. To understand karma, you must realize that thoughts are things. The very universe in the final analysis is composed not of matter, but of consciousness. Matter responds far more than most people realize to the power of thought. For willpower directs energy, and energy in turn acts upon matter. Matter, indeed, is energy. The stronger the will, the greater the force of energy, and the greater, consequently, the energy's impact on material events. A strong will, especially if combined with awareness of the cosmic energy, can effect miracles. It can cure diseases and make a person well. It can ensure success in any undertaking. The very seasons are obedient to the man of strong willpower and of deep faith. Even unenlightened human beings shape their destinies more than they themselves realize according to the way that they use their power of will. For no action is ever an isolated event. Always, it invites from the universe a reaction that corresponds exactly to the type and force of energy behind the deed. Action originates in the will, which directs energy toward its desired end. This, then, is the definition of willpower: desire plus energy directed toward fulfillment. Energy, like electricity, generates a magnetic field, and that magnetic field attracts to itself the consequences of action. The binding force between human action and cosmic reaction is the ego. The consciousness of ego ensures that a person's actions will have personal consequences for himself. These consequences may be delayed if the willpower engendering a thought or deed was not powerful enough to have immediate results, or if its thrust was thwarted by other conflicting energies. Sooner or later, however, every action, whether a body of thought or of desire, must reap its final reaction. It's like a circle completing itself. So what's important here to understand from that piece that Yogananda said many, many years ago, 100 years ago, is that the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, governs all of reality. And for every action, there is an effect. There's a consequence, right? The law of attraction, also referred to as magnetism by Paramahansa Yogananda, is generated by our karmic patterns. So let me say that once again. The law of attraction, also known as magnetism, is generated by our karma and our karmic patterns. So our karmic patterns attract more of that karma into our life. The law of attraction is taught in pop culture today is incomplete because it doesn't take into consideration our karma and our karmic patterns. If we've generated lifetimes worth of bad relationship karma, for instance, then no amount of positive thinking or acting is going to erase all of that karma, because there's karmic debt to be paid, right? So this explains why so many people can't get the law of attraction to work for them. They just simply don't have a complete understanding, or they have an incomplete understanding of how the law of attraction works. Furthermore, the New Age teachings on the law of attraction encourage people to build desire for that thing that it is that they want to attract into their life. If you're familiar, though, with the Buddhist teachings or with yoga teachings, then you also know that there's 3 actions that create karma, and those actions are actions that are motivated by ignorance, aversion, or attachment, also known as desire. And that's because the desire for things, even if they're good things, are nearly always driven by ego. There's a selfish aspect to that desire, and that selfish aspect of desire is what creates more karma. When our motivation to have something is driven by our ego, it's going to cause us to experience suffering sooner or later. And in part, that's because the ego seeks happiness in things that are always impermanent. And you can prove this to yourself. Think of something that you've really, really, really desired in the past and that you finally got. Maybe it was that perfect job or a promotion or that house or that car or whatever it was. Over time, that thing that you desire, no longer probably brought you the same happiness that it did initially, or that you thought it would bring you over time, right? And the reason why is because those things that we desire, like a house or a car or a job, they're impermanent. They're going to change. They're going to go away at some point. And when it goes away, we're left once again feeling empty and desiring more of that thing. And hence we get on this, or continue to generate karma and continue to live in that wheel of karma for ourselves. So the law of attraction is taught in popular culture today is incomplete and nearly always erroneous, because it leaves out of the discussion karma and karmic pattern, and it encourages you to actually act in a way that creates more karma. Now, the good news is that once you understand the law of karma, you can use the law of attraction to help you clear your karma, to awaken to the true nature of who you really are, to liberate yourself from pain and suffering and create a life that's filled with joy and peace and happiness. All right, so it's time for question of the day. I want to know, what insights did you have about karma, about the law of attraction, about either of them or both of them? Let me know in the comments below, and let's have a conversation about this. I think it's really, really important. So thank you so much for joining me in this video and in this discussion and conversation about karma, the law of karma, and the law of attraction. If you want to learn more about karma, I have a 90-minute masterclass that I did recently called the Karma Clearing Masterclass. You can learn more about that and watch it for free. I have the link to that in the description below. Thank you so much once again, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Namaste.